What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and if you've ever seen this channel before, you would know that I'm not necessarily an 100% Glock fanboy, right? You would know that I bag on them. I talk about a lot of their flaws, things that they don't do that they should be doing. But you always see that I talk about Glocks as well, right? And some would even consider me a Glock fanboy, even though I own Springfield Armories, CZs, Bursas, Rugers, Diamondbacks, Walthers, Palmetto State Armory daggers, Smith & Wessons, I don't know if I said CZs, Sig Sauers, Stogers, Berettas. I literally own a little bit of everything, right? I don't discriminate. If I like the handgun, I like the handgun. If I like to shoot it, I like to shoot it. If it's reliable, right? I don't discriminate. But for some reason, whenever I go back to a Glock, it just feels right. And I hear that often, right? I hear people talking about getting their new Shield Plus or their new P365 or their new Hellcat, right? And then a couple months later, like, yeah, this is great, but I always go back to my 26. I always go back to my 19. Whatever the case may be, I hear that often. And another thing a lot of people mention is, you know, they have Glocks, and they're not necessarily the biggest fanboys of Glocks, but they rarely have issues. Now, have I had issues with Glocks before? Of course I have. If you shoot a lot of rounds, every single handgun will have a failure to feed at some point, failure to eject at some point, right? But it's a type of malfunctions that I've had that leave me still somewhat satisfied, if that makes sense, right? They're not malfunctions where the firearm is rendered useless, right? Nothing that a tap and rack can't fix. I haven't had any squib loads, nothing like that, right? So all somewhat reasonable malfunctions when you're shooting thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of rounds per year, right? So that's that. So today I just thought I'd make a video where I list off my 11 favorite Glocks in order, and we're just going to go through a little bit at a time about what I like about each one. And at the end, I'm going to show you guys a Glock that should be on the list, but Glock never made it. So, you know, Spin Firearms had to go out and do his due diligence, right? So the number one, you know, is already going to be my 26. I do prefer the Glock 26 Gen 3. No offense to the Gen 4s. I like the Gen 4s. I just don't own any. But I do prefer the Gen 3s, and then I do really like my Gen 5. It's really grown on me. This is the MOS. I hate the MOS system. It's ridiculous. Just make it cut for an RMR. Not a big deal. Anyways, but I like the Gen 5s that it can take the Glock OEM performance trigger made by Glock for Glocks. Therefore, it's still OEM. Makes for an awesome, nice, very shootable small Glock. And the people who complain about Glock triggers, it doesn't really make sense. If you watch my video about my buddy who never shot a Glock 19 before shooting it, he goes, the trigger's not even that bad. What the heck are these people talking about? And that's exactly how I feel about Glock triggers. But for those people who complain, remember, they do make the performance trigger now. Next up has to be my trusted 27. I love the 27. I get a lot of carry time out of my 27s. Once again, Gen 3s. But I do like 40. I think harder hitting rounds definitely serve a purpose, especially when people are intoxicated, under the influence of something, you know, whatever the case may be, mentally ill, and you get attacked. I think a harder hitting round, a heavier round with still decent velocity and good hollow points makes for a better chance of survival. That's just my opinion, though. Love the 27s. That's why I have so many of them. I just really, really enjoy them. They run. Like I said, they're very versatile handguns. You can use them for self-defense. In most states in Northern America, you can use them in the woods, get yourself some hard cast, and these things just run. But on top of that, any 40 cal Glock, you can convert to 357 SIG as well as 9mm. So that's another benefit of going with a 40. But the Glock 27, small, has power, has capacity. It's right up my lane. Next up is going to be a 27, but converted to a 33. Normally, this is a 27, but I buy KKM Precision conversion barrels because they make the best quality barrels, and you can turn your 27 into a Glock 33, chambered in 357 SIG. So these are all the exact same frame, exact same slides, exact same dimensions. They're all in just different calibers. And I love the 33 being a 357 SIG because that round has proven itself over and over again, regardless of what the people say, regardless of what the haters say. It may be a dead round, but it's a round that is powerful and potent, especially out of really small barrels, which is what most people carry out of, right? Most people be like, oh, these hollow points have great velocity on them, right? And I'm carrying my X Macro. Then you realize your X Macro is a 3.1 inch barrel, and on top of that, it's compensated. So you lose a ton of that velocity. 357 SIG out of a short barrel is your answer. After that, I got to go my Glock 19. The Glock 19 is a Glock everyone should own. It's probably the best Glock, but for me, being concealed carry oriented, the Glock 26 is better, and all those smaller Glocks are better in my opinion. Plus, the Glock 26 can take all the 19 mags and the 17 mags and the 45 mags. Same with the 27 and the 33 for their larger counterparts as well. But the 19 is just a classic handgun, and this is my home defense right here. Nothing special about it, right? Just grips, an Olight, a +5 from Millspin, so this is 21 rounds, and a Mariglow IDOT sights. This is my home defense. Never once have I ever felt like this handgun would cause a problem, even when running it, not cleaning it, shooting it like crazy, and putting it through its paces. The 19 is just a beast of a handgun. Everyone should own one, even if you are against Glock. Next up is going to be my Glock 30. I love the Glock 30. There's just something about 45 out of a Glock that I just love. And it's the fact that this is so thick and heavy in the slide that it really, really handles that recoil. I've done nothing to this other than some upgraded sights and a base plate. And this right here is 12 + 1 of 45 ACP. But you can run it with that flush 9-round mag and still have it very concealable. 9 rounds of 45 ACP out of a 3.8-inch barrel and a Glock platform. I mean, it's perfect. Next up, I got to go Glock 42. It's actually climbed its way up on the charts. The Glock 42 that I have here is starting to get worn down a little bit, but that's because I pocket carry this probably the most out of any of my pocket pistols, and that just became a thing as of, a couple months ago. I've really been pocket carrying this. As you can see, all the buildup on the sights from pocket carry. You have to maintain your firearms a little bit more when you pocket carry, especially in dirty blue-collar work environments. You definitely want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence when it comes to that. But the Glock 42, just a handgun that you can have on you anywhere because it's so small, thin, light, and concealable. I just love it. Once again, reliable handgun. Next up is going to be my Woods defense. Even though I did have a malfunction recently, it was a failure to feed with some funky federal ammo. Haven't had the issue since. We shot another 250, 200 rounds this weekend, and I shot 200 rounds before that weekend, the weekend before out of this, and then like 150 after that malfunction. So since then, we've had no issues. This handgun climbed in round count really high because of that malfunction. So we're nearing 2,000 rounds with one failure to feed. I still count this as my as my bear defense, my Woods defense. Nothing against the 29. It handles the 10mm recoil like it's nothing else. Normally I run it, and I was using a Glock 20 mag, right? So I was using that 15-round mag. It shouldn't have malfunctioned, but it did. But I chalked it up to being a fluke, as it hasn't happened again. I've put it through pretty extensive testing since. But the Glock 29 will put down anything in North America that you need to defend yourself against. After that, I have to give it to the 43X. The 43X has really grown on me, but so have other Glocks. The 43X and the 26, 27, and 33 are the pinnacle of everyday carry self-defense handguns, in my opinion. They just run, they do what they're supposed to, and the 43X has the best grip angle, the best ergonomics, and the best balance, in my opinion, in the hand. I just have a harder time concealing that 19 length grip, but overall the 43X is one of those amazing handguns that if you tell me that's what you carry, I'm all for it. Just because I like the 26, it doesn't mean I can't see how practical and great the 43X is, because it's one of my best shooting handguns. Love the 43X. Okay, from there, I'm going to give it to the Glock 39. Even though most people wouldn't even consider the 39 to be on the list, I just happen to have one. You know why? Because it's another subcompact, and as you can see, I love the subcompacts. I'm even carrying a Glock 28 today. Actually, it's just in a holster from filming. I was carrying my 26, but they fit in the same holster, and that's how I carried it down south. But the Glock 39 and 45 GAP, Glock Auto Pistol, it's a shortened 45 ACP plus P, basically. And it's a round developed by Glock. Not only is that awesome for collecting purposes, that you have a Glock chambered in a round that was developed by Glock, but also the subcompact collection, but also it's a great shooter. It's an awesome shooter. This right here is 8+1 of 45 ACP plus P, and man, does this thing have some recoil, but it also has that power to it. I love it. It may be a little expensive because it's more of an oddball round, but I love it. So what more does it really matter, right? Next is going to be the 43. The 43 is a great Glock. This is your smallest Glock in 9mm, and you can fit it in most pants pockets. The 43 has never done me wrong. Shout out to Daniel Hegg. I appreciate you. It's an awesome handgun. Lots of people love it. People with smaller hands, people who just want deep concealment, women, they all love the 43. It is a reliable handgun. Just imagine if Glock made a double stack 43 like the P365. They would make a killing, but they don't listen to us for whatever reason. And number 11, and then we're going to get into the one Glock that Glock never made, but the Glock 45. I love my Glock 45. Even though I'm more into smaller handguns, I can let this handgun go and I can shoot it from distance really, really well. It's a fast shooting handgun, but because I shoot mostly small handguns, I do notice it has more muzzle flip than I would like. But overall, a super ergonomic handgun, and if I was going to be in the field, I needed a duty weapon, I would probably go with the 45 or the 19. All it is a 19 slide with a 17 grip. Absolutely love this thing, but I rarely ever get out and shoot it. But I think it's a great Glock. And here is the Glock they should have released, the Glock 26L. Basically a Glock 45, but one step down. A Glock 19 upper with a Glock 26 lower. Therefore, you can still run that flush mag, still get that 4-inch barrel, still get a heavier slide for less recoil. This would have been an awesome, awesome drop by Glock. But they never did it, so people like me had to go out and make his own. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.